Welcome to today's deep dive. We have a mission today that takes a completely different angle on the AI revolution.
Yeah, it's a very refreshing angle, honestly.
It really is. Right now, it feels like, every conversation about artificial intelligence revolves around compute power or job displacement or just how quickly these models can write code.
Right. It's always about efficiency.
Exactly. But today we are asking a much more profound question, which is what is the distinct spiritual advantage that humans hold over AI?
And to answer that, we're pulling from a really fascinating source today.
Yeah, a video from a man named Osman. He is widely known as the blind Muslim yogi.
He's a bioenergy healer and a veteran yoga teacher. He's been practicing for almost 50 years, which gives him this incredible baseline for analyzing human behavior.
50 years is a massive amount of experience to draw from.
It is. And it sets a really calm, analytical tone for this whole discussion. Because usually, when we look at the AI landscape, we're measuring our own worth against a machine's ability to, process massive databases.
Right, or act as like a high-speed brainstorming assistant.
Exactly. But today, we're looking at the fundamental contrast between AI's perfect, emotionless programming and the beautifully chaotic human mind.
The beautifully chaotic human mind. I love that phrasing. And that contrast is exactly what we are going to unpack for you today.
We're basically shifting the focus from what a machine can compute to what humanity can actually experience.
Which brings us to a really fun hook. We're going to explore why you, and let's be honest, pretty much everyone else, tend to fail those ambitious New Year's resolutions by about January 18th.
The dreaded third week of January.
Yep. And more importantly, we are going to dive into how ancient breathing techniques could give you the ultimate edge over a $150,000 dancing robot.
Which sounds wild. But to understand that edge, we first have to look at what Osman calls the illusion of willpower.
And the inherent weakness of the flesh, right? The human struggle of inconsistency.
Yeah. Think about the everyday things you know logically are good for you.
Like deciding you're going to eat a healthy lunch instead of grabbing fast food.
Or committing to getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep.
Putting the phone on the charger across the room instead of doom scrolling in bed until 2 a.m.
We've all been there. Logically, the choice is completely obvious, but our emotions constantly override our logic.
Osman actually brings up a famous R&B lyric in his video to illustrate this perfectly. He references the line, my mind's telling me no, but my body is telling me yes.
It perfectly captures how temptations get us into trouble.
Right. We know a behavior might be harmful, but that weakness of the flesh just takes over anyway.
Now contrast that human weakness with AI. AI doesn't need a sick day.
It doesn't wake up feeling unmotivated.
Exactly. It never gets tempted.
Mm.
If you look at AI companions in relationships, they are programmed to be flawlessly loyal.
They just say the perfect words to trigger dopamine hits without ever being distracted.
There is zero weakness of the flesh for a machine.
And the source mentions a really wild detail about modern robots to highlight this. We aren't just talking about chatbots anymore.
No, we're talking about physical, top-tier, functional humanoid models.
That cost up to $150,000. And they feature human skin temperature, bone-like structures.
And they can execute complex ballroom dances perfectly.
Yeah. The waltz, the foxtrot, the samba, the tango, they just execute the programming flawlessly.
So it begs the question, if a robot can do all that without missing a beat, why are we so inconsistent?
Why do we fail our resolutions?
Osman connects the dots here to the root cause of the human struggle, which is the 97% rule.
Let's break that down for the listener, because this is the core of the issue.
Basically, your daily behavior is governed 97% by your subconscious mind,
97%.
leaving only 3% to your conscious willpower.
So when you say, I'm going to work out every morning at 5 a.m., that's your 3% talking.
Right. But if your 97% subconscious programming associates sleep with safety or just prefers the comfort of the bed,
The programming wins.
the programming always wins. When your 3% conscious desire fights your 97% subconscious, it's not even a contest.
So we're fighting a losing battle against our own minds, which leads to the million-dollar question.
How do we fix it?
Exactly. How do we fix it without just hypnotizing ourselves into becoming rigid robots?
Well, Osman introduces some very specific yoga protocols as the antidote.
Specifically, he focuses on pranayama and ka protocols.
Right. Pranayama being ancient breathwork techniques.
And Ka protocols dealing with vital energy.
And the source explains that these practices naturally and safely remove that subconscious programming bit by bit.
They literally clear the mental clutter that holds our willpower back.
But there is a massive warning here that we need to emphasize.
Yes, the dangers of rushing the process. You cannot just snap your fingers and fix this overnight.
Osman is very clear about the real dangers of forcing a spiritual awakening. He specifically mentions the dangers of a forced Kundalini awakening,
Which can lead to severe consequences. The source notes cases of people ending up institutionalized in psychiatric wards.
or dealing with chronic pain and severe anxiety.
Even fatalities. So the message is very much that slow and steady is key. You are rewiring your foundational systems.
And if you want to ground this in Western science, the source points to a really interesting 2025 study.
Yes, from a University of California professor.
They looked at box breathing protocols used in mice.
Box breathing being that rhythm of inhaling, holding, exhaling, and holding empty.
Exactly. And the study proved that these breathing protocols 100% improved the mice's health markers.
It improved their longevity and their thinking capabilities.
So this isn't just esoteric theory. There is scientific validation that these mechanical breathing practices alter your biological landscape.
They clear the fog.
And when you clear that 97% clutter, that is when you find the ultimate human edge,
You unlock true out-of-the-box creativity.
which is something a machine cannot do.
Let's talk about that difference. AI versus human creativity.
An AI can only create a masterpiece by remixing existing data,
It mimics the masters. It is fundamentally confined to the box.
but humans can create a Mozart symphony entirely from scratch.
We pull from our lived experiences, and Osman highlights this with a powerful personal anecdote,
Since he is blind, he cannot rely on reading a script or notepad for his videos,
which most people would see as a limitation.
but he uses it to tap directly into his creativity. He allows the words to simply flow through him naturally.
He taps into the flow state.
Exactly. And AI does not and functionally cannot experience a flow state.
It only analyzes.
True, unscripted, highly nuanced human creativity is a spiritual mechanism. Machines simply cannot replicate it.
Okay, so let's bring this directly back to you, the listener. With AI causing rampant shifts in the job market and potential unemployment on the horizon.
How do you use this human edge to survive and thrive?
Right. And Osman's business background is the perfect case study here.
A lot of people don't realize he spent a period of his life saving over 100 businesses that were nearing liquidation.
Which is incredible when you consider that 80% of self-employment ventures fail in the first 6 months.
And only a fraction survived to the 10-year mark. But he saved over 100 of them.
How did he do it? Not by acting like an AI.
No, an AI would just look at historical financial data. Osman would spend a week or two just observing a company's energy.
Observing the daily protocols, the unspoken dynamics.
And then he used his out-of-the-box thinking to implement entirely new, unique strategies to turn the ship around.
Strategies an AI could never generate because an AI relies on past data. It can't invent a brand new strategy for a totally unprecedented situation.
But to execute those strategies, you need an empowering mindset of resilience
You have to erase the phrase cannot do from your vocabulary.
and replace it with how can we get it done?
The source throws in some great historical examples here. Think about Henry Ford.
Replacing the horse with noisy machines.
Everyone told him it couldn't be done. Or the Wright brothers inventing flight.
Thomas Edison finding 1,000 ways a light bulb won't work.
They didn't rely on existing data, they stepped outside the box.
And Osman ties this resilience beautifully back to the Serenity Prayer.
Having the power to fix what you can, the serenity to accept what you cannot, and the wisdom to know the difference.
It's about directing your vital energy
Mhm.
where it can actually create unprecedented impact.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, the contrast is pretty clear. AI might offer you flawless loyalty.
It has endless databases.
And it can perfectly execute a tango, but you have something better.
You have the ability to clear your subconscious clutter.
You can tap into an unscripted flow state.
And you can dynamically invent out-of-the-box strategies.
In a world racing toward automation, your messy, emotional human mind isn't a liability.
It's your ultimate strategic and spiritual advantage, provided you learn to harness it.
Which leaves us with one final thought for you to mull over today. If AI's greatest strength is its flawless execution of the programming we give it,
And humanity's greatest struggle is overcoming the 97% subconscious programming we accidentally acquired.
then perhaps the ultimate evolution of humanity isn't learning to program ourselves to be more efficient, like machines.
Perhaps it's learning to step completely outside of all programming.
To experience true freedom. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us today.